Welcome back to the Moxie Movement, where we're talking about what real life, real mum life looks like alongside business and partnering. And today I am joined by an incredible client of mine and also a businesswoman, Emily Holdaway from over at Officially Em. We're going to dig in behind the scenes to look at who Em is behind the business and what it takes to actually build a business that allows her to be present with her kids, present with her partner, and also profitable.
Unfortunately, haven't won low yet.
Exactly. There's this thing you have to do to win lotto, that is buy a ticket, which I never do. Where in the world are you based?
Oh my gosh, I'm in Cable Bay. It's right up near the top of the North Island, close to Kaitaia. It's paradise. You can see the beach from the back door all the way through to the kitchen table in our house. And we moved here on the 15th of December 2020. It's been magical, says. It really has.
Nice.
I reckon everyone
Nice.
moved to the beach.
I get withdrawal symptoms if I go too far away from the ocean. In fact, the whole family does. So yeah, I'm 100% there with that. What business and who do you work with?
Remember when we first met and I had to explain what my business was in front of a room of women and I couldn't do it because I just had no clue? Well, that was a few years ago. What is my business? I run an online community called Embassy. It's been running for 7 years now. And recently, with my change in life, because we all came together with babies and nappies and baby wearing, as we grew, I realized that a lot of women were doing what I was doing, and that was taking their hobby or taking this idea they had and running with it because they didn't want to go back to work. I opened up a mentoring branch for women in social media. I've been doing this for 10 years, all the ups and downs, and I wanted to bring together my experience into a community of support, of connection, of networking, and sessions and strategy to help them with what they're doing as well.
I love it. Okay. What's the mission behind making money? Because I always talk about, businesses exist to make money. And for all of my mums in business, there's a bigger reason why. Like, why do you build this business? Why does it matter that you do this?
In the beginning, I was going to go back to work as a travel agent when my baby was 6 months old, or maybe 12 months old. That was the plan. So take a year off, go back to work. And then I started blogging. And then I realized I don't want to go back to work. We were really fortunate at the time that my partner was in a position that was possible. 5 years into the internet, I started monetizing it. I started creating community around that. I started doing influencing on Instagram, which was great and also not where my passion is. In the last 5 years, 6 years, I think it was COVID that really hit it for us. At that time, I had two young babies. AJ was out of the house before breakfast. He was home in time for dinner if I was lucky, and I was there rocking in a corner, honestly. And then COVID happened, lockdown happened. Within 48 hours, he is working from home. He's down in the spare room. He's gone under the house and blimmin' put holes into the floor to get the internet cable. This is after telling me that there was no internet down there, so my office was the kitchen table for many, many years. 48 hours later, he's working from home. And the first time we had a huge eruption of emotions from the kids, he was there. And he came in, he defused, and I took a moment, and then he went back to the office, and I went back to mumming. A few days later, we were sitting on the deck watching our kids play with a coffee because he was like taking a break. And we thought, why are we focusing on retirement to have time when our kids are really young right now? And this is the time we've got with them. Like, dude, I need you here with your coffee way more often. That planted the seed of, hey, can we do this differently? And then in true style, we were like, yeah, sure, let's sell our house. Let's move to Northland. Let's just rejig everything. Now I have this life that I do not ever want to walk away from on like terms that aren't my own, you know? I start the day, AJ gets up, we have coffee together, the boys get ready for school, they read their books, everyone chills out. He's here right now. He's through that door. The kids are at school. They get home at 2:30. That's when our day ends, and that second shift kicks in. And we pick them up every day from the bus stop. We drop them off every day. We go to the assemblies. We go to the prize givings. Go to some of the school trips.
We get pick and choose,
I
right?
ended up in a moon boot after one of those school trips. I avoid them. I avoid them these days.
Yeah.
But that is my why. And there is that. And so the community I have and the woman I mentor and the people who come into my space, I have this knowledge that to have my life, I show up for them. When I show up for them, for that community, for those women in this space, then everything else just
Love it. Literally lifts you up at the moment. Literally lifts you up. Where do you feel most like you?
Oh, outside of my business, at my friend's house. I go to my friend's house and we put on like M&M and we body double each other. She folds her washing and I do some admin on my phone. It's magic for both of us, and we make sure to do that at least one morning a week. I see her up, drop off.
Yeah, beautiful.
The friendship of women in the last 5 years, like just really understanding the power in that and finding those people.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing like not being able to see them in real life to make you really recognize how important that is. Quick fire, finish this statement. You ready?
Yes.
I believe. She's like, no, I'm not ready. I believe.
I can.
Love it. I love
my bed.
I hate
rubbish on the beach and the ridiculous amount of waste being caused by all the pills I have to take.
I'll totally roll with the rubbish on the beach. I have, as you know, a not so small person anymore. Emma, I think she's taller than me, that is very anti all of those things. So totally great. I'm a huge fan of
fan fiction. At the moment,
I'm in the shower alone. I'm listening to.
Oh my gosh, I've got my Waiata Māori playlist, so it's like 5 hours of just Māori songs. And then I have my guilty pleasures, which is like all the stuff I listened to as a teen. They're quite different. But what I really like to do is just crank the volume and sing. Sing like no one's watching. It's real feel good. I even shared it on the internet, which will make you laugh. Like, if you've been sharing on the internet for 10 years, what the hell are you talking about? But sharing myself singing on the internet, that's just a whole new level of bravery.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's something I actually really missed about having a car.
Yeah.
And mostly now I don't sing on my scooter because I have Scarlett on the back, and as you know, she actually got a voice and her mum doesn't, and I feel like I ruin it every time. I'm listening to her and I'm like, I'll just join in, and then I hear myself and I think, don't.
No, Iron, just
when
it's me, just me in the car.
What word or phrase would sum up your life and business right now?
Oh, my life and business right now. Done in 3.
And we were talking about that before we got started, eh? So we have the Done by 3 Club, which for obvious reasons for mums, when we have kids, that's going to be really helpful. And Em's got some life stuff going on health-wise, which you talk about pretty openly, right?
Yeah, so you can talk about the health stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when people say to me, I don't have enough time, this is one of the things that I'm like, actually, everything expands to the time that you give it. If you want to get your business done in 3 hours, you can. You're going to have to do less, obviously, because you've got less time, and you can still make it work.
Just your focus on what it is you're working towards. And this is what working with you for the past however many years has really highlighted for me is that when you have those focuses, then you're like, okay, I've got 3 hours. This is what's most important. Get it done. I'm also ADHD. So, tight deadline, short time frames. My brain's like, yes, give it to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What's your chaos level today? Zen Queen all the way to send help.
I'm pretty Zen Queen. I'm pretty Zen
Like
Queen.
that.
Yeah. Kind of like I'm
Yeah,
on 7 days. You know how they do the quick questions at the end?
yeah.
Feeling in control, and I can very easily spiral, very easily. And it's something I've worked on a lot over the years to notice where I'm going with that spiral and pull it back and pull it back.
Yeah.
And so it's really easy for me to not be Zen Queen. You could give me 10 seconds and then we're going to be over here and stressed out, hysterical. But this is where I'm trying to, like, if I can go back far enough, I even try and walk with my hands out to just open. I mindfully turn my wrists out when I'm walking. It's just a little thing, but it all helps.
And the reason for that question really is to go, yeah, we're moments when we're like all on top of it. And then there's moments when we're all losing our shit too. Like it's not no one person has got it all together all the time. And we don't get to see always the behind the scenes. I'm in a blessed position, and I suspect you're in a blessed position of having a community where people are very open and vulnerable, and so you do share, far more than you would often.
And sometimes, like you worry about sharing that. Like, shit, I share too much about how much am I struggling. How are people going to want to invest into me, into what I can give them? And then I also try and show them, like, yes, it's struggling and not but, and here's where I'm making it work. Here's where I show up. This is where my energy is focused on. And so I think that helps.
Yeah. You'll hear Em really deliberately correcting her language because "but" is a word that I ban inside the Moxie movement. And the reason I do is because it discounts everything that comes before it. And I get everybody to...
That was on my wall. Replace "but" with "and."
It's from the retreat last year. Because life actually happens in the and. There's not anyone that is all one and none of the other. We're all living in the and the magic is in the journey. And that bit that you shared at the start about shifting from, Hamilton back up to the far north was about, oh my God, we're living for someday instead of living for this journey. The journey happens in the ands, and it's the bringing the focus to, it's this and this. Both can be true at the same time. If I just bring my focus to the things that are fabulous, more fabulousness shows up as we go along that journey.
It challenges you too, because it's so easy to run with the "but." When you have to put an "and" in there, then you're like, oh, I would have seriously rephrased the phrase that I was going to phrase.
The words that you say out loud, so powerful for you.
And that's also on my wall. We believe what we hear ourselves say out loud. What are you saying about yourself?
Yeah.
From the retreat. We didn't plan this team. This is just my office space, and Sarah is a big part of it. She has a patch of wall.
I'm very honored. All right. So let's, now we know a little bit more about Em behind the scenes. Let's talk about the shifts that you've been through to get to where you are right now. Because there's had to be some shifts, there's had to be some breakthroughs, maybe even the odd breakdown to get to where we are. What was your I can't keep doing it all moment that's got your business to the point where it is now? What happened that you went, something's got to shift, something's got to change?
We moved home in December of 2020, and in December of 2020, a week after moving home, I ran into someone in Pack and Save who was a big abusive part of my past. And my body just went, like, what the fuck have you done? There's bad memories at every intersection. You know, we drive from here to Whangarei and there's a turn off to Matodi Bay and there's a car park in Waipapa and then there's a turn off to Kirikiri. Everything was just... And I didn't really realize at the time how low it got. And I was crying 5 times a day and just being like, I'm just going through a bad patch. I do all the things, you know, I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy for a while through ACC sensitive claims, heart to anyone else in that position, but it just wasn't really working. I then spoke to a GP who was like, babe, let's just try some antidepressant meds and see how we go. And then I saw your workshop advertised in Kaitaia. It was a business-funded workshop. And I turned up the first day I started my meds wearing grey and being like, I've built this huge, beautiful community. I've lost myself. It's all going to fall down around my ears. And AJ will have to go back to work and I will have to be a travel agent again. And I can't. I cannot. And so I think that was really pivotal. I mean, I'd love to hear it from your point of view, but I know I turned up week 1 lots. And I also know that you gave me a lot of attention and I really appreciate you for that. Like you were like, yeah, I see something in you, Em, let's dive into this. And so that was the first big moment.
Yeah, I think
I had just been ranting about some feminist issue. There was something in politics and some lady had said something and she was, I don't know, but I was like totally irate about something completely out of my control. That was happening on my phone. He made us fold paper planes. He wanted to say, I can't fold a paper plane, says. I sat there like, I thought you were...
Yeah. What's really interesting about that is that that's your story of that. And yet I see mums in business get to that place all the time. Slightly different details. They just get to this point where they're like, what the fuck? And you know what I have learned in 10 years of working with other people's business is they don't have the solid foundations that reduce the decisions. Because those don't exist, like you had all these things going on and there was no space for life to happen because your experience of life in that moment was totally valid and totally okay. We'll just add into that I'm still being a parent to 2 young boys and I'm still being a partner to my significant other.
Yeah. And trying to navigate a new community, trying to find new people, coming into a small community as a public face on the internet. Like I wasn't quite prepared for that. I remember once driving to the post office and there's a pedestrian crossing. And you know, technically you're meant to, if your car is inside the white triangle, you've actually got right of way, but no one listens to that. And I had that moment in my head where I was like, do I go because there was someone waiting or do I stop, you know? And I stopped because I'm a good person. I stopped, they made eye contact with the person, gave them a hi. They sent me a DM about 2 hours later to say that, oh my God, I saw you at the pedestrian shop crossing at the post office. And all I could think was, thank I didn't go.
Right? That seems like such a small thing. In the moment, you had to make a decision about that and you filtered that through. Who do I want to be in this moment? Who do I want to be from a business point of view? Who do I want to be as a human, a member of this community? And I think what I do is you inherently know all of that stuff about you, Em, and most women. Part of the problem here is our capacity. We have so much capacity. And so I'm getting goosebumps talking about this. You were carrying this all around in your head, as well as trying to navigate and heal and do all the things all in here in your poor little there was steam coming out of your ears with all the decisions and the thoughts that you were having to have. And I was like, it's pre-decided, put it down on a piece of paper and stick it on Sarah's part of the wall, which you didn't have back then, but now you do, on Sarah's part of the wall, the Moxie movement part of the wall. And we'll fix this stuff. And it just reduces that need to be on so much. Because you're like, pre-decided, I'm always going to stop at the pedestrian crossing because that's who I am. That's my underlying beliefs. That's a behavioral standard for me and my business, and probably me and my life too.
And I'm always going to say hi to people at the beach, and I'm always going to greet people with a smile on my face. And even when I go into the post office in my footy and my track pants, very obviously, like, I'm not, like, if I'm just like this, cool, come up, let's have a hug. But when I'm all in grey, and I still make the chats, take the time, and that's got a lot easier, you know, because we weren't just navigating moving into a new place. I had to get the boys into early childhood education when we moved up here. We had our hearts set on, you know, moving home and getting them into Reo and getting them into a kohanga. And AJ and I, we were at the start of our journey. We knew like the basics, but we couldn't hold a conversation, which was kind of an expectation on us as parents. And that was a bubble that really burst for us really early on. Ziggy, what do I do now? We didn't want him in school. He was only 5 and 5 months. Like, we wanted to wait, but I didn't want him to go from Hamilton ECE to the one that didn't work out to another one and then to school. I turned up at that, because there's a few ECEs here, and I turned up at the kindergarten, and one of the ladies saw me. He's like, hi, can I help? And I just burst into tears. It was like all of that worry and mental load and weight that I was holding, and I just cried on her and just trying to find the kindy for my son. He went to school. Jagger went to the kindy. It was fucking beautiful. But that was one of the things that we were, on top of moving to a whole new place where we literally knew 3 people, one on the internet, and 2 we'd met 6 months earlier, getting AJ's poo. So they weren't, like, was a lot. Yeah.
And so I think from my side, I just saw another mum carrying everything, these big lists of shoulds. I should be able to speak Māori fluently. I should be able to teach my kids. I should. And like, it makes me really angry that in 2025, we're still doing all those things. That's still, like, if you want me to rant on things I hate, it's those standards. I just had an experience this weekend where Johnny was having a conversation with someone, and he's like, I just want to be faster and stronger than Scarlett when she's 20 and I'm 60. And someone went, oh, girls shouldn't be. And Johnny goes, in our household, girls are strong. Like, he just cut it off. He's like, I can see where this is going. And there's just, without even knowing, there's still all these layers of things that you should do.
And just the expectations, like Nana, love her, bless your soul, Nana. Every single time we saw her, she would ask how AJ's business was going. And no one really asked about mine, because what I did wasn't proper. Someone actually said, oh, you just put on fancy dresses and dance on the internet. I do not. Well, I do now, but it was very much like, he is, it's his business and this is your focus and how's it all going? And there was very little consideration given to the fact that actually I had the business and I was working really fucking hard on it. And no one really got it. I think my family gets it a little bit better now, but it took a while, I think, for them to realize that what I do is actually not just aimlessly dancing around on the internet. It's actually building community, bringing women together, the stories that I hear, the wins that happen within our community. And like, I'll fucking yes a business win as much as I'll fucking yes a divorce, because I've been watching it happen for the last 3 years. I'm like, finally.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What lie about success, business and life, did you have to stop believing to get here?
the biggest one for me was that this was a business. That was a huge mental shift. Like, I mean, I was paying tax and I have an IRD number and all of that, but I never looked at what I did as a business. It was a hobby that got big, this thing that I do. You know, I have pictures from the beginning where I was working on a laptop on the kitchen table with Ziggy in the baby carrier, either on my back or on my front, because that was the only way he would sleep. And that's where I would work, in the kitchen.
Mm.
Now, I have an office and it's glorious, but that took a while to get that separation from the house to my place of work, and that's been a real deliberate shift as well.
So based on that, what system, habit, ritual, mindset helped you the most?
Oh, we'll go deep. The one thing that still helps me, will always help me, is the knowledge that I can do it, because I always have. And I've always had to. We can do brief history in this. At the end of sixth form, we left our little small community in Northland, moved to Auckland. I went to all-girls school, and halfway through seventh form, my family moved over to Indonesia and stayed there for the next 8 years. The accommodation that was organised for me didn't quite work out, and there was a lot of spiralling that happened. There was drugs, there was a little bit of prostitution. It was not a happy place to be. And it got to a stage where I hit about 21, it's my 21st birthday. I had the realization that if I didn't get out of here, I was going to always be here. And I thought, Em, you can do this. Like, you've stayed alive. You've stayed alive. You've made it work. You've found work. You've traversed countries and people and situations and relationships falling over and dodgy shit. You can do this. And so I moved to Perth and made an effort to get my life back on track. Yeah. And luckily, when I was 22, I started talking to this guy on Bebo. He was pretending to be a penguin from Kazakhstan, something like that. He's weird. He had this alter ego. He talked to me in an accent. And I thought he had really lovely hands. And from that, also he used the word enunciate in an email, and I was like, hit me with the grammar. And, that's where everything got good. That's where I found someone that loved me unconditionally for all of my history and past. And we are coming up 18 years together this year, which is huge. 8 years of that without kids, which was wonderful. Like, just so great.
Yeah.
The 10 last years haven't been, but just for the world. And I appreciate those 8 years that we got to be together on our own, because it really set a solid foundation when parenting kicked in.
Yeah.
Parenting, if you haven't had kids yet, start therapy now. Get all of your shit sorted, because it all comes back up.
Yeah.
Wanting to be better parents and living that deliberately, intentionally, in every single way that we communicated or responded to our children.
The shift is basically, I can do this. And the shift is backed up by the fact that you are standing in front of me. And for anyone who's listening who's a mum in business, you're the same. I have evidence that you have survived 100% of the things that you thought were too hard, you couldn't do it. You've already survived it 100% of those days. So you have evidence you can do it. And you just have to take that and apply it in those moments. When you're swinging from Zen Queen to send help, you've got to stop at some point and go, well, I am the help. I'm it. Like, you know, I've always helped myself.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Like, okay, then let's pick yourself up again, because you've always picked yourself up, and you're going to be the only person that's going to be there for 100% of your life here on earth to continue to look after yourself and pick yourself up. And yeah, it's on me. And I don't mean that like I don't have support or there's not other people around, but it is on me. It's my responsibility, my control, my output, my energy. And it's both reassuring and
Clarify, it's both, oh, it's me, and oh shit, it's me, right? Like all at the same moment.
like that. We just
What's one thing you used to feel guilty for doing, but now know it's like a non-negotiable foundation for success in business, mum life, partner life?
resting. So easy. Resting. I used to feel so guilty for resting because it was unproductive and it was lazy. And if I could go back and do motherhood again, I would lie down so much more. Like, lie the fuck down, woman. What are you doing? It started actually understanding my period, which I've kind of had since I was 17. You'd think I've had a grip on it, but no, that also took for motherhood. And AJ and I realized that there was one day, just one day, where I had to lie down. And in the past, on that day, I would push myself through because I'd feel guilty. For example, he'd been mowing the lawn, of course, on the one day of the month that my uterus is about to expel. He's mowing the lawn. And I'd be like, oh, I better go and help him mow the lawn because, you know, it's like a lawnmower. And then I was like, no. And we realized that the world hadn't fallen down because I needed to lie down for a day. And it was just a day. And we could kind of go, you know what? This is okay. And so from that, we started teaching our boys, you know, mum's got her period. Today is a gentle day. You have to be soft with her body. And that kind of unlocked that permission to rest.
Wow.
Yeah, I take it.
It's so
Run
funny.
with it these days.
It's so funny. Like, there's two things in that for me. One, that it takes us till we're so old to learn that resting is important. And I'm hopeful that I'm doing a better job with Scarlett of that. And I suspect you're doing a better job with Jagger and Ziggy of, you know, rest is key. You know, we're humans. We get to be humans. They require both rest, sleeping, and active recovery, which is doing nothing. Just not being asleep and doing nothing is also required. And I think the second thing that's super interesting to me, and I talk about it way more now than I ever did in my start of my journey when I started coaching, is cycles. Oh, dear women, you have a cycle. And it took me until I was late 30s to figure it out. Probably used it for about 18 months and then went into perimenopause and it's all gone up the shit again. So we are going to do it differently with my girl. We're going to do it differently. So she's, you know, we've talked about it very openly her whole life. And we are very much having conversations like she goes to the gym with us and things. Because I think for women in business, this is a hack.
It is,
The cycle
it is a hack.
so
It's a mental hack. It's an energy hack. Within Empire, this is the woman in business, right? And we have a Zoom every fortnight, little momentum Zoom. And I get in there one day and the vibe is just flat, you know? Like, I bring the energy, but you need the people in the room to just, everyone's feeling, And so I was like, okay, stop. Let's regroup. Where are you in your cycle? And the cool thing about this community is, one, no one raised their eyebrows at that comment. They just all like, oh, yes, let's check. And two, the majority of them were premenstrual. And they were like, oh, yeah, my period's about to turn up. Oh, no wonder I feel like shit. Like, yeah, we're not making big decisions today. You know, I just thought, this is cool. Because in this little community of women, you can ask that question, get the response, and then also practically apply it. You know, you're not losing your mind. This is your period's about to turn up. And it takes us by surprise every month. I have my day where I wake up, I basically try and jump AJ, who's like babe, get up, we've got to take the kids to school. And then half an hour later, I'm sobbing into his shoulder on the deck, crying because the world's ending and everything's going down the toilet. And he's there like, 1 minute you're jumping me, the next minute you're crying. What the fuck is going on? And then I go to the toilet and I'm like, oh, it's right. It's my day, we're all good.
How did your calendar feel before you and I met?
I didn't.
And how does it feel now?
I didn't have a calendar, says. Actually, I remember turning up at that first workshop with the opposite problem to a lot of your women. They had no time, and I was frozen with time and no idea of what to do with it. You know, busy for the sake of trying to be busy, but not actually going forward on anything. And I remember you talking about, like, what do you want your perfect week to look like? And I was like, want it to look like walks on the beach in the morning and time for physio, and like there's my 2 hours of work and there's another 2 hours of work, and I look at it like, yeah, fuck off. And that's kind of what my calendar looks like now. It's so pretty. It's color coded. It makes sense. It has all of like my work Zooms in one color and my Sarah Zooms in one color and my workshop Zooms, and it tells me what to do. It's like organized to the end of the year. I've got my dates set. We're halfway through the year and I'm sorted, like it's in my calendar. I still love me a bit of paper, okay? We're not going to get rid of the paper. And I love my Google Calendar.
Oh, I love it. What did you have to give up or outgrow to do that?
I had the tech barrier. Time new tech is introduced. I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I have this block of like, I don't really understand it and I don't know what I'm doing. So, for example, back in the days when I was on Facebook and then Instagram started, it's like, I'm not going to that. She built her business on Instagram. It was a block for me to start using Zoom. It was a block for me to start using Canva. It was just this thing in my head saying, too hard basket. And I looked at my empty calendar and I looked at your beautiful calendar. Well, I can't get, like, it's far too much work. And then I just started putting things into it. And I also, at the time, because I loved paper, I also color coded my paper. So my colors match my Google, and would block out my days with like my little color coded blocks. And I could say like, oh, cool. I've got 3 Zooms and then I'm out by 1:30. We're all good. You know, it was just having the confidence to take the step into the tech. Not just with Google Calendars, with everything.
Because you figured it out, right? Like we didn't grow up with the internet and we didn't grow up with, so it's just, you've been adapting your whole life anyway. So it was just this lie that you kept telling yourself that you just had to let go of.
Yeah. Like I remember the sound of dial-up, you know, MySpace and the chat room. Was it ASL? Like just ASL, I can't remember. Yeah, age, sex, location. Dodgy chats and MSN back in the days. Working it out and going from MySpace to Bebo to Facebook to Instagram to Patreon. Just tech is there. You know, like tech's not going away. And people make social media out to be this big evil baddie. And I actually think it's how we use it. It all comes down to our control, how we use it. And it's funny you should talk about shifts, because the second huge shift was the first retreat I came to. Not in Russell. The Waitangi one. What was that? End of 2023. Yeah. I think that for me was actual, I can't do this. I thought I could. Sounded great. I loved everything that we did, but I can't. And that was, you know, even when you're a social media content creator or whatever you want to call it, there's so much going on online. There's so many issues and politics and opinions. It's a very easy place to create energy, to create engagement, to get people following you. And then you think, but where's this going? If I'm creating all this energy in someone, where's it? Because we can't just always be anxious. We can't always be angry. We can't always be, oh.
It's a miserable way to live, though.
Yeah. And it was you giving me hard love and telling me to turn off from my phone, which I was so like, no, I can't. But I was also consuming so much and taking it on. And I wasn't actually even resharing with my community because I was like, this is too fucking heavy. This is too fucking heavy. But it just felt like everything was too much. It really.
What did you go home and do?
Actually, I did it that day. I sat there under a tree, every single page that wasn't a friend, a member of embassy, like if they were my community or my people, I turned it off. Followed like 1,500 pages.
That's huge.
Yeah,
so huge.
100 in that one sit down, but over about a week, I went down, like people you follow, by about 1,500. That was how much news, politics, event causes.
I didn't realize it was quite that much. That's huge.
I was following everything. Like, just not just our politics. I was following the news overseas. I was following the news here in New Zealand. I was following events that were happening in absolutely different countries. I was following protests that were happening in this country and feeling all of this like I'm not doing enough. Oh my God, this is so shit. How do I just do something? And then I was like, I can't ask my community to do this because they're all mums and they're all tired. And if I bring this to them, they'll care about it because they've cared about everything I've brought to them so far. It was a real mental head fuck. It really was. And so I turned it off. And I kind of turned it off and went to ground. I said to my online community at the time, my mental health is up the fucking wazoo. I think I had a surgery scheduled as well, like a few weeks afterwards to do my sinuses. And pretty much for December and January, I just did like that. And I came back and I was like, I'm back.
But the big shift there was to turn off the noise. That was you're allowed to care about things, but if you can't shift them and you're giving them so much of your energy and so much of your bandwidth, when already you have a huge group of people that you're positively impacting with your businesses, you can't give away
helping through difficult births, helping through difficult relationships, helping through ADHD diagnoses, helping grow your businesses, like so much, so many people's stories. And I hadn't learned back then how to tie it off. It was a mutual friend, the lovely Marlene, who kind of helped me with tying something off when you get connected to it and it's in your thought, then being able to let that go, otherwise you're just carrying it all around. And I carried so much. I remember at the retreat when I was like dancing and happy, and then you messaged me from Thailand to say Scarlett was doing the M dance thing. I hadn't had that light feeling in my body all year to move in the way that I was moving back then. So there you go. The other, some of the other things, if we segue back into the expected role of a woman, a wife, a husband, a few of the changes we made really early on with moving home was AJ stepped into roles that I didn't have to step into. So he went onto the board for our school. which was huge. You know, he goes to board meetings. He's been doing it for the last 3 years. And that was his way of involving our family in the school without it being me. They'd have his phone number. I actually only got my phone number added to the alerts like a month ago. For every single school text goes to AJ. And so that was a really deliberate conversation. Hey, who's going to be responsible for this? And he was like, I'll take it. And that in itself has been amazing. Like anyone listening to this, if you move to a small town with your kids, get involved with the school. Get on the board. You meet the community, you start to make those connections. When you are self-employed, it's really important to have a nurturing community offline as well as online. No?
Yeah. Do you know what I think is the thing that, ladies, if you're listening, they have AJ's phone number and have only just got M's phone number.
Yeah.
I bet I would put a lot of money on the fact that most women here get all the sick phone calls, all the text messages, get all the alerts, manage all the school logistics, and the school wouldn't even think to call dad. And that's a load that Em and AJ deliberately didn't put on her to give her the space to do different things. It doesn't make us less than as mums because we're not the first point of call. It makes us responsible for other areas in our families and things. And I think if you want to run a successful business, you have to have a supportive partner or you're going to end up single. Like there's no in between, right? Like and I'm going to stand by that to the day I die. There's too much for you to do. Just never mind doing all the things that someone else should be doing as well, which is what happens in so many relationships.
Without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
I look back on it, I'm home with the baby, so obviously there's stuff that falls to me. And my big one is the clothes. So when they started outgrowing their clothes, I'm the one home with them. So I'm the one that takes out the sizes that don't fit and put in the new sizes that do fit. And unfortunately, for that particular part of the life admin, I'm still that person. It sounds really small, but it's fucking not. It's not. It's one more little brick that we put into the gender of mum brains and expect to hold it all in there and not have it fall down.
All right. I have so many more questions I want to ask, but we're going to run out of
It's like,
time.
and you can take out the shitty.
What did you decide to tackle first when you and I first started working together? Was it getting the ease back? Was it making more money? Or was it setting the boundaries and making the life fit with the business that you wanted?
It was working out what I did. It was working out that business vision. I'd never had that. You saying you put something on the paper, you have to put something on the paper, you must write something on the paper. That actually defining it as a business and giving it a focus.
Yeah. Which framework or strategy have you done inside the Moxie movement that helped you most?
Ooh. So redoing my story of time, which has morphed into my story of deliberateness. So when I am deliberate, that was huge. There's so much that I pull out of my brain every now and again, but that's like the foundational pillar, right?
Yeah.
And reading that feels good.
One boundary that you've set that was hard, that's changed everything.
When I'm in a Zoom, I'm in a Zoom. And if you need the computer 10 minutes before the Zoom starts, it's not happening because I've got a Zoom.
Yeah.
And I've had to hold that boundary. I have locks on my doors. They're way better about it now. But it took them a while to realize that actually, no, you can't come in and interrupt me. All three of my boys, because I'm at work. Yeah.
Because people treat us the way we train them. When we trained them, it was okay to come in and break that.
Yeah, like, I just need to do this quick thing. Like, nope. Well, the Zoom starts. They get in the state.
I know you've got lots of answers for this one because you tell me regularly that you want to throw things at me. But what's a belief that I've challenged you on that you hated at first, but now you tell other women?
Oh, here's me looking at my, you know what? I don't think actually I'm brave enough yet to deliver this as succinctly as you do. It was we control the overwhelm in our brain to a capacity. Like, if we're going to constantly tell ourselves that we can't, or it's too hard, or we don't have enough time, then nothing will shift. And until you can own that, that was really hard to. I think a lot of what you say around relationships is really hard for anyone in a relationship to hear, especially when you say that you train them, right? And I had this epiphany that when I was talking in the house about cleaning things, when I saw something that needed doing, I would think, oh, I need to do that. And I said to AJ, when you see that dirty sink, what goes through your head? I need to clean that, or someone needs to clean that. He's like, oh, someone needs to clean that. It's like, huh, right. So moving forward, when you see that mess and your brain goes, oh, someone needs to clean that, I want you to remember that the only other someone in this house is me. So it's just being defaulted to me, even if you didn't realize that's what you were doing. That was a really big conversation that we had, and it was a good one. It was an easy kind of, it was an easy one, you know, start with the kitchen sink crew. That made a lot of conversations after that a lot easier.
Yeah, love it. You did train him, and now you're retraining, and it's totally okay. Do you ever feel like you have to choose between making money and being a good mum?
No.
Now?
No.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Favorite way your business has changed your family's life? Big.
Oh my God, look where we live. Like everything right now. Yeah. We live within in a burgoyning, how do you say that word? Starting, growing, whatever. I know what it's like in a book. A food forest at the beach.
So good. So good. What's one thing you wish mums in business would say out loud?
Oh, this is my business.
Yeah.
It's my business. And I am a businesswoman. And I can do this. What
do you hope Jagger and Ziggy remember about this part of your life? About this season of your life?
Well, they are going to remember a mum that's horizontal a lot. Just right now, I have a spinal prolapse. I hope that they remember that when the sun shone, we'd go to the beach. And when it rained, we'd stay inside and watch movies. They are with us 90% of the year. They are with us throughout the whole school holiday period, give or take a couple of days. And I hope that they look back on this and appreciate it. And
yeah,
one day.
For the mums listening that are feeling stuck, tired, stretched a bit thin, what would you whisper in her ear if you could?
Go and talk to Sarah. Or I'm coming to Embassy in the Empire. I would put in the ear that they need a cheerleader. They need someone to back them, and it doesn't have to be someone within their immediate life. That can be someone like you, like me, like a business mentor figure, just someone to tell them that what they know inside, but having that friend or that person that believes in you, especially when you're wavering, that's just such a solid thing to have. And I wish I had it years earlier in my business journey.
Oh my God, this has been so good. It's so real. They're all over the place. I'm really going to stick with lots of mums that need to hear it. And part of my inspiration for starting to interview my clients that are mums in business that are, keeping their partnerships together and keeping their parenting together and building successful businesses, I wanted them to be able to see that it is possible, it can be done, whatever stage and season you are in life. If people are listening today and they want to connect with you, where's the best place?
No, come find me on Instagram. So I'm on Instagram as officially Em. The Empire and Embassy and all the cool stuff I talk about there, you subscribe either to the community or to the community and business. All of that is, I'm organized. I have highlights. I have that little live link in the bio, you know, that little blue thing, and you click that and everything's there. Because I have you in my life now, Sarah, and I'm
Yeah, when I share with you guys why the joys of running businesses is that we get to choose who we work with as our customers, our clients, our guests. And I am incredibly blessed that I have incredible clients, both in this business and in our tourism business, that have both been very, very cool, very, very kind to us. So I'm very pleased that you're part of our community as well. So thank you so much for your time. This has been a super cool chat.
You're so welcome. Anytime. I will yarn with you anytime.
Absolutely. Till next time, peeps, stay moxie.
Yes.